Hey gamers, welcome back to Crusader Kings 3, the Game of Thrones mod, with the extra house flavoring of minor houses mod built in, and the more game bookmarks that let us play during the Dance of Dragons. If you missed the first two episodes, basically, well, we wrote our own alternate history of the House of the Dragon show that's currently on. As of the time of recording anyway, it's probably, season 2 is what's playing right now, and we're having a lot of fun. But Greens versus Blacks, turns out in our version of history, the Greens won. And after a couple of really harrowing battles where it looked like we were on our way to victory, we are playing as House Blackwood here. We are Samwell of Blackwood Vale, and obviously our arch nemesis is Lord Humphrey of Southstone, the Brackens. We Bracken versus Blackwood, long-time mortal enemies, but as I was saying, we'll get back to that in just a second. Just to review, we got the crown here, but the king in the end was very merciful. Rhaenyra still lives on Dragonstone, and so does Daemon. Like, everybody lived, basically. Almost everybody lived, but here we are, the realm is at peace, and now we are finally ready to get back to focusing on our own little corner of the map here in the Riverlands. We have an heir, AGOT Blackwood here. He is going to be marrying Moira Goodbrook. Goodbrook being the High Lords of Lakehaven. He's way over visiting the Vale, but Lakehaven down here. Lakehaven is just directly south of Southstone, and makes for a nice sandwich of our enemies here. So having an alliance over here with Lord Abros by marrying his second daughter, we are in a good position to make a squeeze, because as you can see, this just doesn't look right now, does it? Them owning this little chunk of land, because de jure, that is part of our duchy. They should not be in control of the ravishment. Lady Elena here should be our vassal, but instead she is under Lord Humphrey. So something's gone wrong, and we need to make it right. These Brackens have encroached on our lands for far too long, and we're not going to stand for it anymore. So that's the mission. That's what's going on. This is, it's a role-playing game, so we are making some schemes. We are a bit of a schemer ourselves here, so we are making a plan to get rid of Elena Goodbrook, because she is the heir to the High Lordship of Lakehaven. However, if something were to happen to her, her sister would be next in line to the inheritance. And well, it just so happens that that sister is marrying our heir. Thus, in a long generation or so, we might be seeing the two duchies of our families merge under one house's control, and all the better to squeeze out those Bracken brats from these lands which rightfully belong to the Blackwoods. All right, so let's get into this. We are pretty well set up. We basically just have to wait 6 months, and she's basically guaranteed to be done for, so long as this guy doesn't pop out a son or something in the next couple years. But his wife is 44. I don't know if she's gonna be able to squeeze another one out before she goes completely infertile. Therefore, we might have a chance here. Meanwhile, we are trying to sway our vassal, Lord Wayless here, because it just so happens that he and several other of my vassals are a little grumpy with me. They want to lower my crown's authority because they feel like I'm too authoritative, and they're in this faction there. They might declare against me, and we might be on the verge of a little civil war here. But if I can sway this guy out of it, and he stops contributing, maybe their strength will go down, and they'll be a little too afraid to do anything about it. So we'll have to see how this turns out. And meanwhile, that's why it's good to have allies. So we are allied to Lake Haven, like I was saying, and we are allied to the Golden Grove, Lord Thaddeus. And the Golden Grove ain't too shabby, gotta say. So they are a nice ally to have in case anything goes really bad. And one other thing was I noticed during our great fight here, you know, AGOT and whatnot was a valiant foe, but someone who multiple times I feel distinguished themselves was Lord Royce. This guy, Lord Yorbert of Runestone, of House Royce here, he was a valiant commander in the armies, and it was a shame that he was slain in battle, but I remember him really, kicking butt out there. And so his kid, Lord Walter of Runestone, is inherited his lands. He's but 4 years old and stupid at that. Very unfortunate, but I think, I hope the best for them, and I want to honor his father if I can. Perhaps if he would be interested in marrying someone in my family. My niece, Myra Blackwood, is 6 years old, near his age, and maybe a good betrothal between the two families, if he would accept. Not quite. Oh, he's a little bit off. Why? He doesn't like me personally quite enough to consider this marriage, but maybe he'll come around when he gets a little bit older. I'm gonna just mark him as a person of interest, and I can't really spend any money or sway him or anything right now, but is he being brought up by anybody? I don't think he would say yes to any of these, so well, it's a nice thought. Lord Walter, we'll come back to you. Maybe we can make an alliance, because, I remember your father well. Our daughter, Moira, is almost 15, or she is 15, and she's going to turn 16 very soon, so she will no longer be our ward. Maybe Lord Walter will accept us as his guardian once we free up that slot there. Just poking around here, it looks like this Lord Utherdries of Turnbridge here, he was willing to matrilineally marry off his grandson, who happens to be the firstborn son of his firstborn and only son, Williman, which means in time my daughter's children will inherit the county of Turnbridge in my family's name. And I think that means let's do that. There it is. I will gladly accept your betrothal. Excellent. I gotta replace my steward because he disappeared on me. So my city vassal here, Elena of Lushton. Where's Lushton at? Let's check it out. I can tell my computer's really chugging because I'm recording this while I'm rendering something else. Anyway, here's Lushton. Right in our little county here. So she's going to represent us. She seems like a valuable steward, really good skill. Don't mind her at all. Meanwhile, we're basically just waiting around to trigger our schemes and maybe make some new schemes. Alisane, who should you marry? Garmond Hightower. The Hightowers were just our enemies, but I mean they did kind of win, so at this point some political alignment might not be too bad. He's barely willing to consider it. What about matrilineal? You know what? You're not far off. You're not too far off. So I should consider this. If I offer a grand marriage, it's gonna cost me 200 goldaroonies, but to get married into the high towers right now, they're pretty strong. Pretty strong. It says it's similar to ours, but I don't think so. I think they've got quite a bit more than we do. So by making this promise, I know he's like the third son, but we'll see what we can do about that, and get my family wormed our way into the High Lordship of Old Town, maybe even. We'll see. There it is. I gladly accept your proposal. I also look forward to the promised grand wedding. Try not to disappoint me. Okay, here we go. So it's gonna cost 200. So right now, 145. I am not gonna be able to afford it. I need a little bit more cash. I can just barely afford this right now. However, we can give this some time, because the grand wedding, I have 3 years to fulfill my promise. So if I just give it some time and wait a little bit, I don't need a grand tour and I don't need a grand tournament. If I just give it some time, I'm sure it'll be great. Let's see. You want to marry Moira? You, Mr. I don't really think so. You're probably gonna die soon, and what are you gonna get out of my daughter here? You know what I'm saying? We could be allies, sure, but your son, Lord Howland, he's not doing anything. Like, he's not even married to anybody. Don't you think it's a little bit more appropriate if maybe Vayon Reed would be betrothed to my daughter? Wouldn't that be a little bit nicer? Not matrilineal. I accept that you won't accept that, but I think this is a good match. I know I'm only making an alliance with Lord Howland of Bormos, so it seems like a worse alliance, but he's going to be inheriting from his father very shortly, I feel. Shortly enough that I'm looking long term, so that my family will be allied with the Reeds for your generations to come. And while we're at it, the Cape of Eagles, Lord Malastare will accept a matrilineal proposal for his second-born son to my niece, Myra, so let's lock that down, and we might have a new target for an inheritance scheme here. Soon our banners will be flying across all of the local regions and increase our dynasty's power in the face of our enemy. The goal here is obviously going to be to slowly but surely whittle down the Bracken family until they no longer have 16 living members and only have a nice juicy 0. That's the dream. If we can get there, I know it's not going to be maybe this whole episode, but it's coming. That's the plan. What happened? Ormond of Old Town died, and we lost our alliance because his son inherited. But we're married to your bro, so don't you think maybe you should consider that? Dang. Well, that's unfortunate. The Bracken feud continues. Lord Amos continued the feud with House Blackwood. Lord Amos, my rival. Oh, what? Look. Ha ha ha. Lord Humphrey, my nemesis. You happened to just die. Your cut wounds open, and just you couldn't handle living anymore, I see. No problem. One less Bracken to worry about, am I right? Look at this guy's Lord Amos's personal coat of arms. Yuck, gross. Look at this brown Bracken nonsense. Ooh. You know, we hate these guys. Luckily, he's also severely injured right now, so maybe he'll just go ahead and croak too. That'd be awesome. One less Bracken to worry about. Aha, here's an event just to celebrate. What a delightful day it is. The wind is refreshing, the sun is warm, insects chirp, happily in the undergrowth. Everything seems bright and vivid, and it's all because that rattling fool Humphrey is finally, blessedly, dead. I cannot contain my grin as a train of his friends and family file past me on their way to say their last goodbyes. Though he can now can't say a word to stop them, I bridle somewhat at the thought of Humphrey's family having the temerity to tacitly defend his honor. The procession passes me by, heading to bury the body. I can show them, and set off with a shovel. Oh my goodness, this is the best day of my life. I can move on, and I'll show them. I want to find out what happens when we set off in nightfall. Getting ahead in life. The night air hangs still and silent. The only noise that can be heard is the scrape of my shovel, dislodging the freshly heaped dirt with ease. Slowly, the heap beside the grave grows larger. The body of Humphrey is exposed once again to the fresh air it had been parted from all too recently. I rip the cloth covering off his face. His lips are parted, drawn back in a rictus grin, and soil and grime still cling damply to his neck as I regard him dispassionately. Grasping the shovel once more, I line it up with the same neck. The metal, sharpened by my own hand earlier today, is honed to a wicked edge. 1 stamp, 2 stamps, 3. I'll make good use of this. Makes you useful for once, a skull goblet artifact, or the old gods has your soul, pigs will have your head. I can get well-fed pigs. Ooh, more dread. Hostile scheme power goes up. For 3 years, that's pretty cool. I don't need to keep his head. The pigs can have him. It's more than the Brackens deserve. And now our dread currently sits at 60. Hopefully that might be enough to scare off some of these vassals. This guy's starting to love me, so I hope he's ready to drop out. Meanwhile, it's time for Elena Goodbrook to die. My agents have prepared for weeks. The cook has been bribed to look the other way. The poison has been acquired, and the duck was gifted to Elena alone. It will be rubbed with the poison, and the bed of herbs will mask the smell as it is served. The deadly bitterness will be the last thing my target ever tastes. Bon appetit, Elena, a healthy eater. Thanks to the duck and the poison vial, Elena is finally dead. It also seems that none of my agents are under suspicion, which means no one can trace the poison back to me. It must have been something she ate, I suppose. This means Lake Haven will now be inherited by Lord Abros's second daughter, Moira Goodbrook, who just so happens to be a comely lass married to my own son and heir, Benjicott. Now, if only he was more interested in making a baby with her, then sooner rather than later, that would be nice. But we shall just have to wait and see. But this means long term, our 2 duchies, Lake Haven and the Blackwood Vale, will merge under one house, one ruler, and be the first step towards squeezing out the Southstone scum. In the meanwhile, Moira has come of age, my tuition at an end. Oh no, despite having had more than a fair share of experience, she's only become a mediocre, flamboyant trickster. Her 17 is still pretty good. She's still excellent at intrigue overall, but her education could have turned out better. She could have been, like, amazing. Oh, they're self-corrected. 19. Still, that's pretty good. Pretty good. And, of course, we just betrothed her to We just betrothed her here to Vaon Reed, so I think it'll be a good marriage. The Reeds are another peculiar family in Westeros. They worship the old gods, at least. So up here in the neck, they're not too far away from us. So I'm quite pleased. Sooner or later, his grandson will be the ruler, and our two families will hopefully still be close by then, enough to have our alliance. Hey, well, would you look at that? It looks like Lord Benedict of Ravensmarch loves me so much because he's also a follower of the old gods. I wonder if our two families had some relation somewhere back, because they also have a raven in their sigil, but it's riding this white bear. That's pretty cool. Oh, and would you look at that? The oh, he left. So I was just gonna say he made a faction to protect me against others, but this Liberty faction, still, they might send their ultimatum at any time now. I was really hoping this guy would drop out at this point, because he's starting to really like me. Doesn't look like it's gonna happen though. I can petition my liege for something. I wonder what we should petition for. I could ask him to dismantle the faction for me. It would only cost me 100 prestige, but if I run my way down there, it might just work, because he's not far off. I don't need captains for my journey. I might need mountaineers. That might help a little bit. And, well, let's just customize our route back so that we can hit up a couple of interesting landmarks along the way. But we want to rush down there and make our plea as fast as we can. But on our way back, let's try to hit up as many interesting places as we can. Stonehenge seems cool. Let's check it out. Oh, that's the Brackens. Never mind. We don't need to go there, actually. We could go check out Wolf's Bend. We got major danger, obviously, because we're going through Bracken land. You know, Wolf's Bend, once we own them, it won't be a problem. That's how I'm looking at this. We won't be needing to rely on Bracken hospitality at any point. Let's go check out Fair Market, though. See, the thing is, because of the way the rivers are, if I wanted to go check out the inn at the crossroads, just look how far it is. We have to go all the way around. And yeah, that's no good. So, short trip just to Fair Market seems good enough. Here we are. Petition counteroffer. I'm escorted to the Lord Paramount Elmo's throne room, where he beckons me to approach and address him. I summarize the events which have led to the open treachery of Lord Andry and his Liberty faction, and requests their forced surrender by the Lord Paramount himself. After listening to the speech, he sits in silence for several moments as he mulls over my petition. Eventually, he addresses me. You make some good arguments, but if I am to agree to your request, I will need something in return. Surely you see it would benefit both of us to come to an arrangement. So I could try to argue by other means and spend some of my prestige, or he is making a fair offer. All I have to do is pay him 40 gold, which I can afford, easy. You gain 10 opinion. All of the Liberty faction can't join another Liberty faction for 5 years, and we both gain renown. Hey, why roll the dice and try to convince him into it? I think 40 gold to make his statement law, that works for me. Plus we both are guaranteed that renown. Good deal. It's a good deal, and now the Liberty faction has been put down. They are unable to join factions for the next 5 years, and we even visited Fair Market. The town of the Blue Folk, once home to the Ironmen Kings, has a long history of serving as a key financial center in the Riverlands, so we gained some stewardship experience. maybe if we get enough stewardship XP, we can sneak in a little perk just from traveling around. Meanwhile, on our travel, we find the links here. Our journey is violently interrupted by the sound of tearing flesh and gnawing jaws, and the desperate cries of a man about to meet his end. The noise is so horrific, it must have come from the depths of hell. Attempting to track the source, we find a desperate captain struggling with a wild lynx. His blade is wedged between the beast's jaw, but his grip is beginning to falter. What shall we do? I can get our captain to help. I can try to help. Or I just don't care. I don't want to risk my own life for this guy. I am callous, so, well, I don't know what he did to piss off this lynx, but I'm sure it was his own fault. Here we are back home. I still have 2 years to fulfill my promise, but I just spent that $40 to dismantle the faction so we didn't have to go to war. I really need some more money soon. I can't let this run out because that will be really bad look on me, honestly. So worse things worse, we can always take a loan from the Iron Bank of Bravos, but I don't want to wait until it gets that desperate. So let's see if we can just make some money in the meantime and not spend any. I think since we are now betrothed, my niece to your second son, I have a feeling I want to see what our chances are looking like. 69% ain't too shabby. However, if I have to bribe somebody, that's going to be the trick. So first things first, if I really want to make sure my schemes go off, and like these kids, they're not going to have any kids anytime soon. So what I need to do is look for Lord Raymond's spymaster is Lucien Brooke here. So what I really need is a hook on this guy, because then he's going to help me get away with whatever murder scheme I want to plot. And I have an even better chance of getting it on the hook on this guy than I do of the murder scheme going off. Oh, and Moira came of age, so Lord Walter, are you interested in coming to see me? Probably not. The foreign court and the faith difference, none of that's helping. Well, that's a shame. But hey, maybe I can make you like me when you get a little bit older, old enough that I can actually try to do something. Oh, I could offer a squire. Oh, but I'm offering you squire. You could squire for me, but you're not old enough yet. Am I a knight? I'm not even a knight. I should try to have made my kids become a knight. Aha, my son and his wife are pregnant. Excellent. 6 months already. I can't wait for this grandchild and the securing of our inheritance into our family's dynasty of Lake Haven. We have a chance to teach our second-born son here, Balian. He was being taught a valuable lesson by our Chancellor Edmund of Horses Halt. It's a little barony in our kingdom here, our little duchy. I must let things take their time, Balian says. Only by being patient and letting my subjects work at their own pace may I rule wisely. He seems to be unaware that some subjects would willfully waste his time. I could let him continue to be patient. I could teach him instead about forgiveness, or we could teach him more to be trusting. I think patience is the virtue that I would like to allow him to continue to possess into his future. It can be worthwhile. Patient, I think, is better than impatient in terms of the traits that you can acquire. And I'm not sure this kid, I don't really want him to become trusting or forgiving. We're trying to train him in intrigue here, which means, you know, those could be very antithetical to how you need to get the job done, so to speak. My daughter-in-law, Moira, has given birth to a daughter. So here we are, basically my heir's heir at this point. So we should decide of a good name to give her. My daughter's also named Moira, and you're named Moira, so I feel like Moira is a good name. Hayes? Hayes? I'm not sure how you say that name. Let's name her after a family member. I can name her after my wife, or Moira. I think Moira, right? Eldine's a cool name too. Moira sounds like a great name for potentially our future heir. And look at that, she's pretty handsome too. That's beautiful. Not quite beautiful, but pretty. And that's pretty good. And what's this? We can negotiate an alliance with my nephew-in-law. You don't say. So my niece, because my half-sister, Elena Blackwood, was married, oh yeah, to this guy, Michael Piper. So because he gave birth to, or she gave the birth to these kids, we're related. And this guy might consider an alliance with us because he's married to my niece, but I don't think he likes us enough. I already have several alliances, and the faith difference is really what's killing this. So, and it's non-close family. It's just my niece, and we're not of the same dynasty. So he's a little too hesitant. But look, there's Claw Isle. You might have been familiar with that. Lord Celtigar. I believe he was on our team against the Crown with, he's under Rhaenyra in the Principality of Dragonstone. Look, she got to keep all of Dragonstone. I think Aegon was very gracious. None of us got executed for treason at the end of the war, so that was surprising. Everybody's still alive. Even Otto's still alive. Aemon's still here. Matrilineally married, in fact, to the Princess of Dorne. So that's interesting. Their children will become the inheritors of Dorne, and they'll be from Aemon's line. In fact, perhaps Prince Darren of Dorne may even one day be a dragon rider. Who knows? I don't. We needed a new marshal because the last guy died of his own wounds. He must have got hurt in a fight. So Oren, my nephew here, seems pretty qualified for the job. So I'm passing over his own father to give him the role. But the kid needs some experience, and I'm sure his dad's going to be helped. His dad's a little reclusive and possessed by spirits, you might say. So maybe he's not in the best mental state to be in charge of the position. And young Oren here, he's an honest, just lad. He might be a little wrathful and zealous at times, but good kid. Part of the Blackwood family. Let's raise him up and make him do well. In the meantime, I'm still plotting to fabricate this hook. If I switch this guy to disrupting schemes, though, will that... it did not significantly decrease my odds. Maybe 5%. I would rather stay on my guard with my disrupt schemes and have Tybert here watch my back, because you never know what those dirty Brackens are plotting. One of them's already tried to take my life, so... Speaking of which, the feud is beset by threats. Please, Lady Paramount Alyssa Mules, this insane grudge has got to stop. I'm scared to go anywhere, and I jump at the nearest mention of the Brackens. My kinswoman is clearly shaken, and I am torn between the risks posed to my family and the need to teach Lord Amos a lesson. I don't think it's time to be done with it. We can never choose to de-escalate the feud. All right, we have to finish what we started. The Brackens must be dealt with. One family to another. We never forgive. We never forget. Have you forgotten our house words? You know, as the head of the dynasty, it's my job to set an example. That's all I'm saying. As I make my way back from the Godswood, Mistress Aleona of Lustion approaches me with a lascivious grin. Samwell, I know you and I both care for not a button for the suffering of others. How are we expected to care about the fleeting feelings of others when our own uninterrupted happiness is at stake? After all, who can tell us of how the old gods want us to live? We clearly have more in common than not, and I think that you and I should spend some time together away from the rotten brains of the simple people. What do you say? I say, a wonderful idea, and we could grow closer to becoming friends, but I would, you know, I may be callous, but I'm still zealous. So you bringing the old gods into this, my simple thoughts are not a thing to be proud of. I'll gain some stress. I won't make friends with her, but I will gain some piety. I think we maybe are a bit more zealous, or a bit less zealous than we are callous. Maybe. We can afford the piety. Let's be friends with our vassal. She's our steward after all, trying to earn us as much money as possible. 17 months left. Another Liberty faction is formed against me? Squeeze me? Raven's March? Dude, I thought you were on my side. Was it your father, Lord Benedict, who at one point tried to create a faction to protect me, and now you've turned against me? You wish to lower my authority, do you? We are even of the same faith. How dare you? I thought we were homies. You were the only homies of the old gods in this whole area, right? Like, look, your county doesn't even support you. Only you are being supported by me here. Let me help you have a better time in your own little corner of the county by trying to convert the faith of Raven's March to that of the old gods in your region here. If we can convert the faith of your county folk, they'll like you better, and we can all get along, all right? So don't try to challenge me. I'm gonna have our young marshal here train for commanders, and we'll try to boost up our commander's power in case we have to go to war at some point, which I'd hopefully don't have to do. Excuse me? Lord Wayless. He knows that I killed Elena, and he's blackmailing me to keep his mouth shut. You're really trying my patience here, Lord Wayless. I accept. However, you best watch your back. That's all I have to say. I can't scheme to murder him because he's got this hook against me. That's dangerous. I did what I had to secure my dynasty's power in the future, but I certainly don't want the public scandal or the Lake Havens to realize that I was behind it. They need to... Lord Abros here needs to continue to believe that it was an accident, because he too is callous and flamboyant trickster. He's an excellent intrigue. You know, I don't want his wrath, you know, of vengeance to be targeted against me. I've already got the Brackens to worry about. I don't need to make an enemy of the Lake Havens. I'm trying to unite our houses, not tear it apart. So you got me, Waspwood here, Mr. Pond, Wayless. You might have me for now, but I'll tell you what, I don't see a strong future for your child here. And Tothmere, what's Tothmere doing? Is he willing to marry my granddaughter matrilineally? Now, she's currently my heir. However, she won't be forever. I have faith that my son will have more children in the near future, and what I'm doing right now is just breeding out the pawns from Waspwood. It's time that all of the Blackwood Vale return to House Blackwood in name and in direct rulership. What's this now? A realm at war. Princess Rhaenyra has risen up against King Aegon II of the Iron Throne in an independence war. I can now choose to stand with the Iron Throne or join Princess Rhaenyra or stay neutral. Lord Paramount Elmo has chosen to support the crown. So kind of a twist on what's happened in the last war here. And our Lord Paramount has instead chosen not to back Rhaenyra, not for the Iron Throne, but he's now supports the throne of King Aegon, who has secured, you know, what's happened here. So I don't know. If I look at the war here, the defenders have a huge advantage, and let's see. Yeah, basically all of the Riverlands joining is really making a difference, and then a bunch of these guys over here. If she gets the independence, I think everybody who's going to join her is going to kind of join the independence faction and try to like basically leave the Seven Kingdoms along with her. So this Bitterbridge and Blueburn and Nightsong and Den's Lane, they're all trying to get out from under the king right now. In fact, if we look at the realms as they stand, oh boy. So it seems the Reach, the Stormlands, and the Westerlands, for the most part, apart from the Den's Lane and such, they've all decided to remain neutral on the conflict. Lake Haven. Oh, good. Lake Haven has decided to remain neutral in the conflict too. For a second there, I was scared that they had joined the fight. Deerfield's also neutral. Oh wait, so is Nightsong? Yeah, Nightsong's in it, but Darkland and Deerfield, they're just staying out. Pink Maiden's just staying out. They're not joining in the Riverlands. We could support our lord, and he would, you know, gain some favor of us. But honestly, this is an independence war. If she wants to be independent, like the Mountain and the Vale and the Iron Islands were on her side in the war, along with the North, and they, because of the Mega War system, basically, everybody looks like they're independent right now if they didn't join in on the war. So they've gone independent briefly, but they should fall back under the Iron Throne after the war's over. But I think the Iron Islands and the Vale, they were on Rhaenyra's side, but at the end of the war, they weren't as part of the Iron Throne anymore. So it seemed like they got their independence somehow in the midst of all of that kerfuffle. So she's just trying to get the same rights that they got. I was supportive of her because our Lord Paramount did. He supports now King Aegon, and I just don't want to get involved. Like Lake Haven, I want to just remain neutral, and we'll just stay out of it and let them figure it out. It looks like, yeah, he's married to a relative of ours, Alyssa Blackwood. So technically his children are all descendants of our line as well, so we should respect them. You know, the Tullys are our lord after all, but in this conflict, I think we're just going to keep our heads low and try to inherit Lake Haven in a couple more years. I want to ensure that my disrupt schemes are as good as they can be. 11 months remaining. Our gold's ticking up nicely. Would you look at that? Lord Almos was taken prisoner by Lord Harbert of Blackrush after he won the Battle of the Shady Pines. So, haha. Stupid Bracken got all caught up and captured. Looks like the Blackrushes are on the side of the Independence faction. So, again, a little bit weird because the Vances were one of the only houses, or at least the Vances of Blackrush here. Let me see. Well, really the High Lordship of Atranta. They were on the side of Aegon to begin with, and now it looks like his heir has decided to join the independent Rhaenyra this time around. So bit of a strange twist. I guess family members of different generations just not agreeing with each other there, but that's funny, and I will take pleasure in seeing my rival rot in his prison cell. Here we are. My fabricate hook scheme has come to fruition. Would it not be wonderful if Lucien owed me, not out of fear, but out of gratitude, if I, for example, were to save him from vicious bandits while he was out traveling? Indeed, vicious bandits like the men currently waiting outside the castle gate. I would charge in with my guard at the last moment, driving them off and leaving Lucien in a life debt to me. So simple, yet so convincing. I spend the $40 on it. Oh no, I'm trying to save up for this wedding. It's only in 6 months. I can wait. This hurts to wait on further, but I think we'll just build influence. So the building influence just increases our success chance, and we'll just be patient. I just taught one of my children to be patient. I'm going to take a little bit of that lesson for myself and save up this money so that within less than 6 months' time, we can have a nice grand wedding for our dynasty here. Speaking of teaching our child, Balien, he's complaining about Maribald bullying him. Excuse me? Maribald Bigglestone, child of the lordship of Flockshade, Lord Andry. He started asking me how to get someone hanged if he felt like they should be. I can teach him to be arbitrary, that only his will matters. We ourselves are arbitrary. Or I could teach him to be craven or to be lazy. I don't think this is really a hard choice. He can be just as arbitrary as he wants. Hang the lad for all I care. In fact, these Biggles stones have been a thorn in my side. I'm not sure how much longer we need a Lord of Flockshade. What the heart wants. My daughter enters my chamber, rolling her eyes. Father, she wants to discuss her betrothal. Oh, I see. No, I think you should stay and keep the marriage that I wanted. My betrothed will not find satisfaction with a woman like me. Please don't make me do this. No, I think you must do as I say. What the heart wants. My daughter Moira enters my chamber now. She has a problem with her betrothal now? The Reeds are a noble house, and you should listen to your father. Vaon is going to make a great marriage one day. An unfaithful oaf. He can't possibly stay true. He's 15. Oh, I guess he is lustful. I mean, at least he's trusting, honest, and temperate. Maybe he will use some of that temperance to resist his lustful nature and be faithful to you, and simply you'll just have a very fun, active marriage. Make the marriage that I arranged. Listen to your father. I know what's best. My daughter, the dreams of your betrothal, your hopes of controlling my life have only pushed me further away. I've pushed my daughter to the brink. She doesn't want anything to do with me anymore. I cannot imagine continuing to live with a thoughtless scullion like you. Don't worry about disinheriting me. I'll do so myself. How dare she? She breaks the betrothal and has become disinherited, which means she'll never inherit any titles. Not that she was in line to really anyway. I have several sons, but damn. You know, I thought that alliance with the Reeds was going to be a long and fruitful relationship. I saved you from having to marry that 60-year-old man from the neck and made you a nice betrothal to a a temperate young man who I thought would be a good match for you. I'm so sorry, daughter. I never meant to push you away. You turned out so great. You're as arbitrary and callous as I am. You're diligent and gregarious. You're a wonderful young woman, and I'm sorry I pushed you out. It's a shame. Alright, we're back, and it looks like we didn't lose too much time. The computer crashed because my computer was out of memory, so there you go. Let's see where we left off. Maybe our daughter situation will, yeah, we'll have another chance at those rolls. We'll see how that goes, turns out. So I'm attempting to sway Lord Wayless here, and I could try to persuade him using his religious worshipping, you know, don't, that the worshippers of the Seven should support me, you know, rather than any other old gods ruler. If you had to convince anything of anyone, you know, I'm at least the best one of them all. I could gain some prestige, and he could gain some opinion of me, or I could lose that prestige. You know, it's almost a 50-50 coin shot. Or I could just, you know, keep it diplomatic and just gain regular opinion. I think that's a much safer thing. I don't want to provoke the religious things. I feel like that's why they hate me in the first place. You know, best to just steer clear of that and just talk about the good of the realm. You know, he's my Castellan after all. The Castellan role is unique in the Game of Thrones expansion. It's not like a regular thing. He basically helps out. He's like the hand of the king, basically. But he's not the hand of the king because I'm not a king. I'm just like a duke. My daughter Amaya enters my chambers, rolling her eyes. Father, my lord, I want to discuss my betrothal, she says arrogantly. I cannot do it. I cannot marry a dame. So we tried to set her up with this kid because he is going to be the heir of Turnbridge eventually, and she's matrilineally betrothed to him. So that county would fall into our dynasty's hands by her children. I think you should make the marriage that I have arranged. The heart wants what it wants. Moira is also trying to reject her betrothal. Can you not simply listen to your father and obey? I thought the Reeds would be a good fit for you. She's become melancholic. Unfortunate but this is your lot in life, daughter. You must do your duty. Perhaps in time you will learn to accept. Okay, so we gotta plan this wedding out. A grandiose celebration of the union of a couple. However, it is not just a wedding ceremony, but a public show of influence and a social event where the nobility gather to practice the arts of diplomacy, seduction, and murder. Or to share a drink with some friends. You can get a bunch of like legitimacy and prestige, and everybody can like you a lot more. You can gain like magnificent host opinion like modifiers. People think you're awesome. We got to plan this thing out real good, as we've promised, before our time runs out. We don't need any travel options, honestly, because we're hosting it in our own hall. We are inviting, let's invite the head of our faith. I don't think that matters because we don't have a head of faith, but if we invite the head of the faith of the Seven, you know, let them have a faith of the Seven wedding. I know that the high towers are super up into that kind of stuff. I do not want to invite my rivals. Thank you very much. I will invite my extended family and anybody else. Everybody else can come. Neighboring rulers. I don't think the Brackens should come, though. Are they? Would they even dare to show their faces? I don't know. I didn't see them here yet, so perhaps not. Yes, they might know better to stay away then. So our spouses, my half-sister, Black Alisane. Friends and foes across the land know Alisane Blackwood as Black Alisane. Alisane? Annie? Alisani? Sana? Alisana? You let me know. And Garmond Hightower. So our intent at the wedding could be just to kind of like chill, relax, take it easy. I don't think we're that stressed out to like really worry about that. I could try to murder someone. Who would I try to murder? Lord Lionel of Old Town himself. I wonder if I could get away with something as crazy as that. You know, here's the thing. He's only... I can't see because this is in the way, but the Lordship of Hightower is only a few people away. We got his kid, his son, and then probably after that, his brother here. He hasn't had any kids yet. And then Garmond, betrothed to my half-sister. So I think it's the time to take the chance to make this happen. And now our budget. So we've got 172 bucks we finally saved up. Let's see how grand this wedding can be. I could gain magnificent host. I won't be able to afford it. What about generous food and drink? Still not quite. That's a little bit more expensive than I can go. Yeah, everything else is just out of my price range. So I guess just an average go at this is the best we can do, but let's see what we can make of this. And now, is my spy master? I think once again my daughter is just sorry, Talbert. You've served the family well, being a maester and everything. You're still my maester, but my daughter, before she goes away, is going to support my schemes and help me take care of this guy. And I hope that all will go according to plan. A lesson in liqueur. My son Balian has just finished a lesson held by Aliona on the management of the treasury and the gold therein. Balian seems to have taken the lesson to heart with a reinforced sense of justice. He is constantly talking about how everyone, from the highest lord to the lowliest launderer, plays their part in the economy of the realm. A strong sense of justice will endear you to the people, my lad. No, boy, what you need to do is bleed them dry. We can make them greedy instead of just. Or emotions beget weakness, child. You should suppress them. We are training this kid in intrigue, and being patient will potentially serve him well, but being just will kind of just get in the way of doing what needs to be done. You know, we want to teach him the right lessons to have no quarter for his enemies. We're Blackwoods after all. We never forgive, and we never forget. Someone wants to pay a ransom. 43 to release my prisoner. I guess that's just because you're so poor. The High Lordship of Goldmarch even can't afford it. You're weak, you're poor, you're pathetic, Goldmarch. I'll take your 43 only because I don't want to be putting up with your prisoner here anymore. You can take your kid back. Although you should be paying me much more. Aha! Time for the wedding. So I think that's the perfect place to stop, and next time we will be picking it up right here with the grand wedding ceremony. I thank you for watching. I hope you'll subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. The Blackwood Bracken feud will continue, and we'll be setting up our schemes in the near future. So hope to see you there.